10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this March 30th, 2020 apocalyptic evening. Chris, just gets crazier and crazier, huh?
That's the cleaning schedule for Airbnbs for April. Six bookings.
You even got 6 bookings. That's pretty amazing.
Last April, I probably had...
Who's even traveling at this point?
70.
I'm surprised you have any.
You know how many people I'm dead serious. I will send you copy and paste, Dave. Hi, I live in New York City. Do you have anything I can rent for April and May?
Oh, people are trying to get out of New York City. Oh, okay. I got you.
A lot of people want 2 months. 3 months.
Yours are expensive. Your
Not right now. You want to come to Portland? I'll give you you can stay one night in my place.
Right.
For under $100 and get a jug of Fiberlize and demineralize.
Well, yeah. Have you dropped the price purposely?
Oh my God, to nothing.
No, but why though?
Because there's no business.
Right, but have you noticed that increased your business at all? Probably not.
Nothing.
No, because the people that could afford to stay there would have stayed there for $300 a night if they're just not traveling. People
are not doing anything.
No, they're hiding away.
They're hiding away.
People, it's because because the media's got everyone scared shit.
Well, maybe they should be. Maybe we don't even know what we don't know.
No, people are dying, but it's not even the people that are dying. I mean, I'm afraid. I'll tell you why I don't want to get the thing. I think I can beat the thing.
Your kids.
No, it's like, yeah, but I think the kids will be fine. I think that the reason I don't want to get it is because I think that there's going to be. I think people are having people are having residual damage from it. I think there's fibrotic. Damage to the lungs, so you might not die from it, but who knows, how it's going to affect you 5-10 years from now with breathing. People are always saying, all the conspiracy theorists, and I've listened to them all, and I don't discount them as not being valid, because I think a lot of them it's valid, but everyone's like, oh, they put this virus out there because
Trump's trade war.
No, they want now because they want. That was the big one. But they want everyone to get vaccinated. People will demand to be vaccinated after this, and then the vaccinations will infect people with whatever they think people are going to put in the vaccine.
Palumbo put it out there. He wants to sell his supplements.
Now listen. I think people got it all wrong. It's not the vaccine we have to worry. Everyone's always worried about vaccines, right? Right.
Yeah.
If they're gonna put something into our brains to control us, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna put it in the virus. They made the virus. The virus is man-made. They know that it's man-made. I have people sending me things that it's not man-made, and it is. Go listen to I mentioned him last week, Dr. Paul Cottrell. No relation to Porter Cottrell. Dr. Paul Cottrell. He's been studying this virus. For the last 10 years, they've been manufacturing this virus. It's in all the as Bleckman would say, all the nutrition, all the journal studies. They've been doing this because they do research on these viruses, and then they manufacture them. They add a little piece of this one and a piece of that one, and they take the HIV targets, so that it can stick to the cell membrane, entry points better. Someone manufactured this. They manufactured it in Wuhan, China. That's where it came from. Now, whether they released it purposely or by accident, I don't know.
Well, they didn't. It doesn't matter. They didn't. It's one, it's here, and two, people say, oh, it does matter. They didn't manufacture the Spanish fucking flu.
Right. But this is the reason why this is,
or the bubonic plague.
But the reason why this is so easily caught, Chris, is because they've fabricated this thing so that it can.
Well, if we didn't have a flu shot, that would be easily caught.
Yeah, not really. Not as easily as this thing. This thing, you blow, and 10 people get it.
What?
Did you see these lunatics that are like sneezing and coughing on people on purpose?
No.
I'll put you in jail for that. It'd be nuts.
What country are they from?
No, from our country. Only people from our country are crazy enough to do that.
What did I tell you about Bob Gruskin? He used to scare the shit out of me with what?
Oh, he was also
talk. No,
Like,
but he used to tell me all the time. Bob
Right.
Gruskin, my coach,
Mhm.
he used to scare the hell out of me. I'd say, Bob, please stop talking about it. I'm serious. I just thought of this.
Right.
Is he used to tell me, well, one day one of these viruses we're not going to be able to come up with a quick fix for. He used to be into
Really?
it.
Yeah.
Like, because he was a biologist, microbiologist.
I heard he fell and he broke. Did he break his hip? What did I tell you?
You told me that.
Yeah. No, what did I tell you? He broke his hip and he's in a
nursing home, in a rehab place.
I think he's in a rehab place. Yeah.
Okay, so he's the one who always used to tell me, be careful of the plagues.
Yeah.
That's what I call it now, the plague.
Maybe.
I don't call it the virus. I call it the plague.
Maybe he's not as bad because someone told me that they were Jerry Scalise got some pictures out of his house. Not personally, someone else who's been helping Bob handle his affairs, I guess, must have pulled the pictures out.
I don't know. We
You should try to get some pictures. You probably have some great pictures of him.
Yeah, he took 10,000 photos of me, black and white.
That's better than the Blackman files.
Of course. He was a one-stop shop, dude. He was a tanning expert.
Can you imagine the files he must have there, the pictures in there?
He used to throw them in the refrigerator. Did you ever see the fridge? Because it never developed them.
Yeah.
These giant, he'd have rolls and rolls.
People don't even know what film is nowadays.
No, I know.
They'd only know.
I know.
Like film. Film sounds like when you say
Movies.
film to like a kid nowadays, it's like saying to us black and white TV.
Yeah.
Oh, and we even know it at black and white because we had black and white TVs, but we didn't. When I was a kid, if we had a black and white TV, because it was just because we were too cheap to buy a color TV, there was an option. But what some people know, our parents remember when the first black and white TV was released.
Yeah.
People who don't understand what we're talking about, they didn't always have TV with colors. Everything was in black or white. It was like a newspaper.
Yeah, you listen. My mind is wrapped around the plague because I'm thinking Australia almost burnt down, California almost burnt to bits.
Mm-hmm.
The hurricane season is like we have category 4s and 5s now.
Right. Yeah, but they had that in the past. People try to think like we're being cursed or something like that.
And now we got the plague.
Yeah, the plague's back.
I've stocked up on toilet paper, but not coffee. So.
Put it this way: if it was really a plague, they'd be killing a lot more people. The problem with this thing is it's just too goddamn catchy, and the reason. Look, if it didn't, let's say this virus didn't affect the respiratory system. Let's say it affected. You got rashes all over your body, like the measles or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and it wasn't. And some people died from it just because it ravaged their body, but it didn't affect your breathing. They wouldn't be that concerned about people getting it, Chris, because the hospitals wouldn't be overrun because there wouldn't be life support you have to put people on.
Yeah. Well,
the ventilator issue is crazy because if you can't breathe because of this thing for whatever, a week or 10 days, you got to be put on a ventilator. And if they don't have enough ventilators, then people have to die because they have to pick who to put on the ventilator. And if it's between you and me or some 20-year-old kid, they're going to put the 20-year-old kid on the ventilator. They're going to let you and I die.
That's exactly what's happening in Italy and Spain.
Yeah, and it's a sick thing that we don't have enough of these things. But my question is, all right, now they got GM making them, right? Apple's making ventilators. Dyson, the vacuum cleaner guys making. What are they going to do with all these ventilators when the thing's over? They're going to have like 4 million ventilators.
Save them for the wave. I've already heard of wave. You've heard this could be a seasonal event. Like
I don't know. Yeah. But I heard Sylvia Brown predicted it will come back in 10 years. It'll mysteriously disappear and then come back in 10 years. And then we never see it again. So people are sending me all this conspiracy videos about, China releasing this thing. And now that they've cured everyone over there because they've isolated everyone. So now they've based everyone back to work there. So now they're going to sell all the medical supplies. Right.
And buy the American stocks 10 cents on a dollar.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Well, we need the stuff what is the sanitizing, gel on your hands, whatever. We don't have enough of that. I've had 3 people already 2 of my clients contact me and say, "You need masks? I can get 100,000 masks." These are people in other countries.
I know a bodybuilder who just bought like 4,000 masks.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with them though. I don't know. I also have a guy who has these quick test kits. You know, for the coronavirus, he's got 100,000 of those too. I feel like I feel like back in the old days of steroids, you know, the guy would be like,
You found the market.
I got 300 GH kits. I don't need. What am I going to do with 300 GH kits? Well, I'll give them to you on the cuff. You know, you pay me for them.
Oh, is that how it worked? You could get them up front.
Well, you know, if you buy enough, sometimes people would be crazy. I knew these German guys. They used to drop stuff off at me. They would. This is before 9/11. They would come in with suitcases and stuff, and they just say, "Here, take it. Pay us next month."
Anyone know?
But
it'd be nice to do real estate.
The problem is if I knew the right people to. In other words, I was a bodybuilder then. If I knew the right people to buy the quick test kits and the masks, I'd actually import them.
Call one of the governors.
I was going to call you and say, Chris,
the governors are competing with each other to get masks and get ventilators and get medical equipment.
The testers, they don't have enough testers either. I say, Chris, I was going to call you up and say, you know, you want to go in with me on this deal? We'll buy 100,000 quick test kits, and we'll resell them to the Trump administration.
Well, we probably could, but it's probably illegal right now. They'd make it illegal on.
They would just take them from us. They would just take them from us.
One would say we only made we made $4,000 total. They'd say, you know, whatever section something under the law.
There was a raid on Dave Palumbo's house. They took 100
masks,
quick test kits, and masks.
Governmental property.
Exactly.
I guess if they can get GM to make ventilators, they can force them. Then they can force us to make no profit on the masks.
I don't even touch them. I just tell me who wants them. We'll ship them direct. We'll drop ship them there. So I don't know. The whole thing is very disturbing, obviously, and we're all still stuck in our houses, and we knew this wasn't going to last just 2 weeks, and it's going to probably last, a couple months.
I get news. They ain't going to last. You're not going to be going out, in 6 weeks to, Flanagan's restaurant in Florida and eating next to 1 million people.
No. I tell everyone my life hasn't really changed much, aside from the fact that I like to go out to eat. I haven't gone out to eat, but I'm still doing the same thing I always do.
Yeah. Well, you're unique. I mean,
I'm lucky. I have a big.
Jay said, I said, well, you're socially, other than going out for business, Jay, you're socially inept. I mean, you don't have, he doesn't socialize with people. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, he's like us. So I have a big piece of property. Obviously, I got a pool. The weather's great down here now. My kids have been going in the pool every day. My kids are really not in school like yours were, where I have to worry about them falling behind.
I told you, we're right back to square one. Homeschool. Ding, 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 ding. They went to bed at 9:30 tonight, 2 hours before Logan.
At least 2 hours.
They have to do because they got to be up to,
My son's thing is I got to give him, the only way I get him in bed is I got to give him he can go in bed with the iPad. And then I put my daughter to bed. And when she falls asleep, I go in and I beg him to give me the iPad back. I'm like, look, you're not going to get it tomorrow. It's 11 o'clock. It's 11:30. Give me the iPad. Go to sleep. And then, of course, the whole ritual. He gives me the iPad finally. Daddy, lay here for 2 minutes. I lay there for 10 minutes. Go into the game room, down the hall. He comes in 30 seconds later. I need a drink. All right, take a drink. Go back. I tuck him in. He comes back 2 minutes later. I got to pee. All right, go pee. Daddy, come in here. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome back. I want to just say goodnight to you. This goes on like
stalling techniques.
Yeah.
And you're a sucker for him. I used to be a sucker.
I scream at him. He doesn't listen. He doesn't care. He has no fear of me. The fear is the iPad. I'm like, all right, no iPad tomorrow night.
You don't do like me. I tell my kids, even at 16, 14, I said, I'll put you out of the house and the coronavirus is out there.
They don't understand the ramifications yet. My son or your kids do.
Monsters are out there at that age.
All right, the monsters. I want to give someone we got to change the mood of the show. I don't want to be a negative show. There's a great show. You're a Netflix guy, Chris, so you could appreciate this. The show is called The Tiger King. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I heard about it today.
You must.
It's the big rave.
You must go see it on Netflix. pulling it up right now. Hold on a second. Okay. The Tiger King is the reason the reason I'm actually even watching it is someone told me, Dave, you got to watch this. It's perfect for you can relate to it because they think I'm like a nutcase with the animals and everything like that. What are you talking about? And they're like, you're gonna love this show. I'm like, all right. I'll take a look at it. So,
is it a movie or is it
it's a
series?
documentary? This guy spent like 10 or 20 years like making this thing. I don't know. It was a long time. And these fucking crazy people who keep big cats, they're like, these like wild tigers and lions and stuff like that. And it centers around 3 or 4 main people. But the one guy, Joe Exotic, who you can see in the little.
You should get him on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's in jail now. I don't want to ruin the show for anyone, but you gotta watch the thing. He's out of his fucking mind. He's gay, openly gay, married to 2 guys, living in Oklahoma in this exotic zoo he built. And then there's one girl, this one woman, Carol Laskin, who's a fucking nutcase too, who supposedly killed her husband. She's in, I think, Tampa or something like that. And she's like one of these PETA people. She has a rescue for these cats, but she's against the people like Joe Exotic who breed the cats so that people could take pictures with the little cubs and everything like that. And they're the most insane people you've ever seen. You not believe the stuff that when you watch this, you'll be like, I can't believe these people are so crazy. They make bodybuilders look like we're completely normal.
I was just going to ask you to compare.
And there's another nut. Who's in this thing? He calls them. They all have their own names. The guy he calls him the Bhagavan Doc Antle. He's like the first guy who ever really got into the big cats. He's like the guru of big cats, and he has a 50-acre animal preserve in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Uh-huh. He has like 4 wives or 5 wives living on the compound there. He gets these young girls who come, and they're like just. He pays they pay like nothing. They pay like $100 a week for the work there, and they work like 18 hours a day taking care of these cats. And these girls fall in love with him. He's a good-looking guy. He's got long blonde hair. He looks like he thinks he's the Messiah, Mm. And he's like, another lunatic. He's got like elephants on his property, and he's been doing this like his whole life. And these people make big. I guess he makes pretty big money. The woman, Carol Laskin, who's trying to put all these people out of business, these big cat people who breed the cats and everything like that, she married this guy who had millions and he was a cheater or whatever. And they think she had him whacked or something like that and fed him to the lions or some shit. They're as they lay out, whoever made the documentary is brilliant. He spent a long time doing it, and you see him on the thing. And he tells about how he got into this whole thing and doing it and how he met these people. And the irony of the whole thing is that the reason he even got into doing big cats is he was out at my friend Tom Crutchfield's, who's a reptile guy, who's like a crazy reptile guy out in Miami. And he was shooting some documentary on reptiles there. And he's some lunatic pulled up to buy a reptile. And in the back of his van, he had this just huge snow leopard. Yeah, it's like, what the hell is this? He goes, I drive around with it. He's like, I have to find out about this. The people who keep these big cats, and oh my god, it's a wacky documentary. It's really good. Everyone's talking about it. I had to take a look at it. I'm like, I love animals and stuff like that. So, but the character, you can't make these up. There's no doubt, Chris, that this will be a major Hollywood movie at some point. There's no way it can't be.
It's everywhere already. I mean, that's when you mentioned it. I said, I just saw
I've watched
CNN about it.
I'm on the episode 3. I don't know how many episodes it is, but it's it just keeps getting crazy. Just when you think that they've told you everything that you could possibly know, and you're like, oh, it's going to get boring now. It
gets crazier.
It gets crazier. I can't believe it, but it does. And the antics. And the one guy, Joe Exotic, this guy is maniacal against this woman. When her husband, the whole thing about the husband disappearing, he made like a music video. He like sings this guy, and he was like he found some woman who looks like this woman, and he had her feeding like pieces of meat to like the tiger, saying it's like her husband. She cut up in the meat grinder. People are really, really nuts.
So
Anyway,
when are you gonna get a cat? Because I mentioned it when I was down
no,
there.
you know what? I said that before. I've always said
When I was down there, I said, if you remember, the first time I came, I said, Dave, how long? After I saw the snake zoo
Yeah.
at your house, I said, how long before you expand this to a real zoo with cats and elephants and everything else? And I was serious.
I know.
I was dead serious because Amanda got nervous when I mentioned it. I think she didn't want to have me encourage you in any way.
Yeah. I always said that my dream would be to have a Siberian tiger, one of those white ones, the white tigers that Siegfried and Roy had. And the problem is, it's like the same thing. Look, they have these albino alligators now. Have you seen these things?
Yeah. They're
gorgeous. And I would love to have one of those because when they're young, they're cute. They're like little lizards almost. And then you look and see what they look like when they get bigger.
Oh, of course.
They're enormous. They're legitimately it's a real alligator. And people don't realize that, but that's a big creature that can do a lot of damage, to someone. So that becomes the reality kind of kicks in at that point. You're like, I can't do this in good conscience. What fucking nuts, But there's a lot of nutty people out there, I'd love to have it. It sounds good in theory, but I'd rather have a park that I can. That's why I think these guys are fine that have these big cat parks because I think it's great. I took my kids to a cat rescue we have here right in Punta Gorda here, right around the corner from us, and it was cool. They got to see lions and tigers up close, and this was one of the rescue places where people nutcases who keep the stuff, they come and take it away, and then it goes to one of those parks for the rest.
Isn't it amazing how many people have them?
Because you know what, there's a big underground trade evidently on this, and you could from what I understand, you can pretty much get whatever you want if you really put your mind to it. The problem is that there's the albino alligators, by the way. The problem is
that albino alligator. I can tell already, right?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, but you know what? What if it ate my kids?
Well, we were worried about you right on the river there. We were worried about alligators eating your kids when we first pulled up to your house.
Yeah, I was. We've been going. I told you I bought the property next door to me, and there's a dock there. So we've been going down there the last couple of days with the fishing rod, and I got to tell you, I throw fish food in the water. I haven't really seen too much. I saw a soft shell Florida turtle. I don't know if you've seen them. This thing was 4 feet. I videotaped the thing, and for some reason it didn't. Sometimes you think you're videoing and you're actually and you hit off and it actually starts videoing. Yeah, that's what I told one of those. It was huge. I wanted to show.
Love that.
Oh, it's great. My daughter was going nuts. I'm like, look at the size of that thing. And then I saw Chris. Since I moved down here, I wanted to get fish tanks. So I kind of miss my fish tanks. But I have so many snakes, and I'm like, I don't really need anything else to clean. Got enough to clean. So I'm on the dock, and I'm looking in the water, and all of a sudden, my wife and I I don't believe it. And one of my favorite aquarium fishes is an Oscar. They get about maybe 12 inches. They're gorgeous. It's everyone who has tropical fish knows what an Oscar is. There's 2 of them swimming. They're swimming in this thing in my backyard.
You must have went nuts.
I couldn't believe it. I have it on video. I put it on my Instagram. Couldn't believe it. 2 Oscars. So people must release fish into these. These are Amazonian, fish. Yeah. People release them. We saw a Plecostomus catfish, which is another aquarium thing. It had to be this big. I have tropical fish. I didn't know it. They're in my backyard.
Do you have manatees in the backyard?
No, because it's not really. I think it's only brackish water. I don't know. I don't think.
Well, they like brackish. Manatees like that. Yeah.
I don't know if they can. I don't know if there's direct. There is direct Gulf access, but there's some bridges, so I don't know if they can get through.
Yeah.
I'm pretty deep in the canal system, but it's fresh enough, the water, obviously, that I'm seeing freshwater fish in there. And I saw something else that looked like a red devil. So these are all fish that I would keep in an aquarium. They're in my backyard.
So you just need one long stick with a big net.
That's right. I got to get a net. But I was fishing, but I'm then fishing with white bread, little roll up the white bread and put it in there. But because fish will eat anything pretty much. There are alligators. We didn't see it in the past couple of days. I've seen alligators basking before. I saw a little baby in the water once.
Catch any fish?
No, I didn't, because it's been I don't know why they just haven't. There wasn't that many. We saw a couple. There was a lot of little, small little cichlids and stuff like that. You can't really catch. You'd have to, like you said, scoop them out with a net. But I saw some big ones swimming by, and I'm like, oh, I got to get those. If it was up to, I'd probably get. I'm an addicted person. I could be out there for 16 hours.
Of course. With
a real, I got to get a real fishing rod. I got to get all the equipment. So I'll do catch and release. I don't want to keep them. They're happy, obviously, in that big body of water that's behind me. But it's pretty cool to know that the things that you are interested in are actually
right there
in the backyard, and you didn't even know it. So.
They're living right with you.
Right, because as every fish tank or every aquariist, and there's a lot of people, I know we have a lot of bodybuilders. One of my clients actually has discus fish, and he's in Australia. Anyone who keeps, aquarium fish, as you keep fish longer and longer, you want bigger and bigger tanks, because the bigger the tank, the bigger the fish will grow, because the fish grow to the size of the aquarium, and the bigger the fish you can have because you have a bigger tank. And even if you like small fish, it's great to put like 1,000 small fish into a big tank too. So to have like, a trillion gallons in your backyard flowing through, with all the same fish in there, you just have to be smart enough to be able to spot them. It's almost like bird watching, It's kind of cool. All right, I want to mention also Greg Valentino, who, as you know, had that cancer surgery, and he had his tonsils had cancer in them, and the back of his throat muscles had cancer. And they removed all that, and then they took out some lymph nodes. If you saw that cut in his neck, that was the lymph nodes they removed. So he started bleeding. I don't know if you saw his Instagram, did you?
No.
I'm going to put it up there. Hold on. So he started bleeding a couple days ago, and they took him to Westchester County Medical Center, which is ironically where I went to medical school. He's like, oh, I was at Grasslands. I'm like, holy shit, that's where I lived there for like 3 years, when I was in med school. And they, because that's, I guess, the closest big hospital to his house, and they cauterized him, and he woke up with a breathing tube down his throat, ventilator. And it wasn't because he had coronavirus, because he doesn't. He actually got tested, and he freaked out. Like, he was like, get this thing. No one wants a vent down your throat. I mean, it's not like the most fun thing to do. But he was like when they put you out, they paralyze your body. They give you something to so he couldn't move. And he couldn't, and he had this ventilator down, and he's awake, and he's like trying to tell him, get this fucking thing out of my throat. And they wouldn't do it. He said they were very mean to him and abusive. And I don't know if it was just because he was out of his mind. Sometimes you don't even realize you're out of your freaking mind in these hospitals, because look what he's going through, right? So supposedly, as soon as the anesthetic wore off that was paralyzing him, he got up and ripped the ventilator out of his throat, and he broke the constraints that they had him like the Incredible Hulk. And the people they were screaming at him, and the problem is the hospitals, they don't let any visitors come in because of the coronavirus. So he somehow got a phone call out to his girlfriend to come pick him up, and he got out of there. But he was scary. He said he was bleeding so much in his throat, he was pulling out clumps of blood that were, he said, like pieces of liver. That's how big these clumps were. So
what's his
he talks like the Godfather now, because
his prognosis?
I don't know. Hopefully they got it all. The only reason he had to go back is because he was bleeding. I don't know why he was bleeding. If it just maybe something opened up and they had to recauterize it or something like that.
What was the trigger that, okay, I got something wrong? Like, how did he
had a little thing at the back of his throat when he was swallowing? He was feeling it, like there was like something back there.
Yeah, stuck. Yeah.
And so when he went to the doctor, she said, oh, it's probably just a little, they thought it was like a HPV like type of thing. They would just kind of pop it out, and that was it. And then when they removed it after the first surgery, which was a very minor surgery, and they biopsied it, they saw it was cancerous. And even the surgeon who took it out told him, she's like, I couldn't believe it. I really didn't expect it. Usually they always give you the worst case scenario. Yeah. They were like, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And it turns out it was cancer. And so he had the rest of it removed, all the surrounding tissues, the lymph nodes. I guess they got to test those to see if there was any spread. Hopefully there isn't. We'll find out. Hopefully, I'm trying to get him on the show Tuesday. But like I said, he sounds like Marlon Brando from The Godfather. He's like, oh, yeah, he's got that voice. He can't really talk yet, And it's, it's a nightmare. Who the hell wants to go to the hospital? First of all, no one wants to get cancer surgery to begin with. But during this time period, where the coronavirus nuts, so you can't have any visitors there. No, it's like you're all alone. You think you're in a fucking nut house.
Well, it's Westchester too, which is a hot spot.
Yes. Yeah, it's a big hot spot.
You know what I mean?
That's probably why they were very aggressive. It requires
ventilators, which is in hard demand. It's in Westchester, which is like a hot spot. All of it is crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's why they also were so aggressive with him. I think he felt that he was mistreated there. I'm sure I'm going to get the whole story, but I think felt he was mistreated. But he probably was mistreated in the sense that they he's pulling ventilators out of his throat. They're like, we can't be dealing with this nutcase, and. You do become nuts because of that. I can understand. He's scared, and you wake up alone. His girlfriend's not there. His family's not there because they don't let anyone in. You think that, you start getting paranoid about what's going on, right?
Yeah, of course.
So,
they put you under. All of it is.
It's scary. When you wake up from anesthesia, you want to feel very relaxed and okay, here's my family. Here's my this. This is what happened. But it's a zoo at that hospital. There's no these people. I'm friends with a lot of doctors, and they're working like 16, 18-hour shifts.
Yeah,
and they still can't. They still are not working enough. They're getting 7 days a week. They're going. They're not. I mean, it's crazy. Our one friend Susie. I don't even know if I'm supposed to even say this, but one of her partners just walked out. He's like, I'm not doing this anymore. He quit because he's afraid of the coronavirus.
Yeah. So
anyway, that's so we want to once again send out more well wishes out to Greg Valentino. I'm pretty sure he's a tough dude. He'll be back and back and better than ever. So what is it? Can we talk about bodybuilding? Is there anything to talk about really? I mean, we don't know anything. I mean, at this point, I don't even know if there's going to be a season. I'm still training everyone as if there is, because you know what? This thing could break in a month and everything can go back to normal. I don't know. What's your suspicion? Did I lose you, Chris? I think I lost him. I'm talking my ass and I lost Chris Aceto. All right, let's see. Hopefully we got him back. It's a crazy time out there. I know a lot of you guys are afraid, but look, what's come out lately is that, the therapies that we've talked about, okay, that I've discussed, zinc specifically, chelated zinc, and you can get that in my demineralized formula. And I only say that because you don't want to just take zinc. You need to take all the vitamins, all the minerals, okay, and because that's going to fortify your immune system. So if you take a supplement like that, you don't have to use mine, but if you use Demineralize, okay, it has the zinc in there. Now, the zinc, we know, inhibits the replicase enzyme, okay, which is the enzyme that helps the virus replicate. And that's how the virus basically amasses strength in your body, by replicating itself. It uses our cells to make more of itself. And if it can't do that, then your immune system just gobbles it up and eats it up. The problem with zinc is it can't get into the cell because it's positively charged. It's a positively charged ion, and only negatively charged ions go readily into the cell. So we use these. You need to use something what we call an ionophore. Ionophores open up a channel where these positively charged ions can get through. A very, very readily available one is quinine. Okay. They're writing prescriptions for something called chloroquine. Chloroquine is, they give 500 milligrams a day, and that opens up that channel. But they have a limited supply of it. You have to go to a doctor to get that. If you want to do something as a home remedy, you can buy quinine pills, like on Amazon.com or something like that. You can buy diet tonic water. I tell people 6 ounces a couple times a day of that. You can use regular tonic water, which has got sugar in it. But, I like diet tonic water. And you can mix it with anything. You don't have to just drink it straight. People are like, oh, it tastes terrible. I actually like the way it tastes. You can mix it with diet soda. You can put juice, whatever you want to do in there. I mean, if you want to make it taste good. I mean, that's what they use with mixed drinks. I mean, people drink, vodka and tonic, make martinis out of it. So you could do whatever you want with it, but the combination of the zinc and the quinine, okay, is very good at inhibiting, okay, this virus from replicating. Now, so, you know, I always telling people to use it if you get the virus, but a lot of people now that some of the, at least some of the literature I've been reading says that it's not a bad idea to use it, okay, as a prophylactic. In other words, before you get the virus. I think we got Chris back. We got you back, Chris?
I'm back. Internet surge, Dave.
Oh, okay. At least you got internet over there.
Bizarre.
Assume we won't have internet. No one wants to work.
Can you imagine if the internet crashed? Yeah. How many people are on the internet now compared to were on 2 weeks ago? It's got to be more people.
Can you imagine if we had this thing going on and there was no internet? Like, think about like if this was like 30 years ago, like, and we had this outbreak. I mean, how would people even? We'd all be glued to the television set.
We'd be experts in like Monopoly and like playing games at home because nobody.
Right, I'm just saying we would be glued to the internet is what we would be glued to.
To the TV.
I mean, to the TV, excuse me. And then
and it'd be black and white, no less.
Yeah. And we'd have to wait 3 months to get the updates about what happened in the bodybuilding world. Like, let's do a special edition. Get it out in 6 weeks. Right? You would wait for those magazines. You're like, oh,
what's happening with the bodybuilding schedule?
Wait 3 months to find out.
What do you think, Dave?
That's what I asked you, and then when I realized that you weren't even there, it was just a frozen energy.
Mike, what's happening with the bodybuilding schedule?
Well, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think there'll be a season?
No.
Really?
I don't think there'll be a season. I don't think there'll be a season because what's going to happen is just give the rosiest scenario that people can go and drop their 6 foot guard. Just give a timeline to it. Something really like positive sounding.
Well, let's say June 1st, everything starts.
I'm just going to say June 1st.
That's how I'm viewing the thing.
Then we get into like weird quasi issues of liability. I'm having a bodybuilding show. Oh, really? You're going to have 2,500, 2,000 people there? And all these competitors within 6 inches of each other and tanning and this and that. And, you know, that becomes an issue for some people.
And will people be afraid to even go to these things?
Well, that. And then the flip side is, yes, will people be afraid to go and start interacting with other people? A lot of people, their gyms are closed. So how do they prepare for shows? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are going to throw in the towel, like who are dieting now, and they're going to say, oh, you know what? I'm just taking the year off.
Well, people who have access to the gym or who are making do are those they're going to get a huge jump on everyone else because not only if they're in the off season, they're going to put on more muscle while everyone's losing muscle, or they're going to get in great shape while people are screwed up. I think the real hardcore bodybuilders are going to find a way to get a gym, have access to working out and stuff like that. I think very few people are going to sit on their ass at home and do nothing. I wouldn't have. Wouldn't you? I would have found a way. Believe me.
Of course, a lot of people will, but you know, to have successful shows, bikini, classic, men's open, the whole gambit, you need lots of participants to sign up. And I just don't think. And you know what? The other part is, you know, not to ring the bell of doom and gloom more, but who's going to have a lot of money to prepare for a show or to attend a show if this keeps running on and on and on?
Yeah, it's hurting the economy. Sure.
I mean, a lot of people who, let's just say you're training people. You might be able to, if you're hardcore, find a gym where you can train, you know, at 7 a.m. secretly 5 days a week. But if you were training 8 people a day,
right, and
now you're doing 0 a day for 8 weeks,
right,
where does that leave you?
That's true. It's tough. I would have definitely found a gym. I'm going through my head right now when I lived in New York. Who would have given?
Oh, you would have been. Yeah, you would have.
I would have been
done anything.
I would have definitely been hooked up by someone. Someone would have given me the key to their gym, and I would have snuck in there at night. Everyone's going like 5 a.m. to train, or 4 a.m. before the sun comes up. I would have just been going at like 2 a.m, like at night.
Of course you would have.
Because I wouldn't have been able to function that early in the morning. I'd be like, I'm just going to go late. Can I just go late at night, like when everyone's asleep? Like now, like I would just go now and work out, like when no one's around.
So, what do you think about the season?
I think it's going to be a challenge to get to that Olympia. I think that they're going to have to do special invite. I think there will be an Olympia. I don't think it's going to be the Olympia Expo. I don't think that's going to take place. I don't think anyone's going to want to go to it. I think people are going to be afraid still, but I think they're going to hold the Olympia because they have to.
Do they think
they're going to live stream it, and they're going to find a way to virtually sell booths and sell sponsorships? Because I haven't even talked to Dan, by the way, so I don't know if this is true or not. But Dan's going to have to sit down with Jake Wood, and they're going to have to hammer out how we're going to do this thing and make some money from this. And it's going to have to be done virtually. Because look, we're all sitting home. We want to watch the Olympia. The guys who are going to do the Olympia want to be in the Olympia, right? I mean, so these guys at the Olympia level will find a way to train. That's not a problem. They'll find a way to get their food. They just need a show to compete at. So I don't know if Dan would hold it in the same place or if he would find a different venue, maybe in Florida somewhere. I don't know, it's close to his house, and hold it, live stream it. Put it in a sterile environment. Can't go see it in person, but you know what? You can watch it for free online, or maybe pay $10. Pay $10, or if you get enough sponsors, you don't have to do that. And these supplement companies want to advertise, but if they know that, hey, I'm going to get to advertise on the Olympia live stream, that's going to be, valuable resource. You have commercials you run throughout the whole special, and they're going to have to just. I think that would be the way to do it, so that you still have the Olympia, yet, you don't just put an asterisk on 2020 season, no Olympia held because of coronavirus plague, Right? Did they have like one year they didn't do like a baseball World Series because they were during wartime or something like that, right?
I don't know.
I think so. I think they missed a couple of seasons or something like that. But that would be one way of doing it. There's a possibility that some of the shows at the end of the season, like maybe the NPC Nationals, might be okay because that's in November. I think by then we should be getting the all clear. But like you said, are people going to be scared? Even though they're going to say, okay, it's okay to go back to work. The cases have gone down to 0. But, people are going to still be afraid that the guys or the people that had it, or it's still going around, in other words. There's going to be like a gun-shy response. My thing is, are they going to start a new school year in September, or whatever, the end of August, like they always do for colleges and high schools and stuff, where it's just people are just going to start doing online school, and there won't be any more schools.
No homeschooling.
I don't know. I'm sure the colleges and universities are probably not enjoying this very much. They're probably like, holy shit, we're losing a ton of money here.
Yeah, it's insane.
Think about what Harvard is a year. What is it, like 70 grand a year or something like that to go there?
70 grand a year. Think of all the students that come into the city of Boston with all the universities and just the economic trickle down.
I know.
It's not even trickle down. It's like, it doesn't trickle. It's slam dunks down.
Do you think people are going to start to say, all right, you know what? Maybe society's not going to go back to normal after this. Maybe it will to a certain degree, but in a different incarnation. So we better start discovering different business models of how to make money.
I've thought of that.
All these mom and pop businesses, are they going to be able to ever survive this, or is it going to be the Walmarts and the price clubs that survive?
No, the mom and pops. No, I read somewhere the other day. I mean, most businesses have enough capital on hand to survive.
Yeah, I mean, Walmart can make it. They don't care.
3 months. AMC Theater CEO was begging today.
Oh, really?
Begging on CNBC for a lifeline from the government. He said
the
they'll never
theaters.
make it.
Yeah,
they'll never make it. They'll have to close every single one down, he said.
What about shopping malls? Think about that. There's not that many. They were in trouble anyway, the shopping malls.
Listen, the first restaurant I thought of is the one that said, we will not be paying our rent in April. Cheesecake Factory.
Wow.
Think what their rent is at at the
shopping malls, yeah. But none of the people are going to be able to pay the rent at these malls.
No.
We could be talking in 10 or 20 years from now, or 10, let's say 10 years, because who knows if you and I are going to be alive in 20 years. But 10 years from now, we could be talking, and people won't even know what a shopping mall is. But shopping mall? Oh, you mean that virtual thing that we go to on the internet? No. That you actually were able to go into these stores. They were these humongous buildings with 40,000 stores in them. Why? Really?
Yeah. Why would you have them when you could just
walk? Why would you want to walk all that? You can just go. You can just take your phone out and go shopping. Holographically experience the store.
It's true. It's the. I mean, malls weren't doing that. Malls generally. Well, malls weren't generally doing well anyway,
No,
so maybe it's the death.
The death blow to the malls.
The death blow. The Cro-Magnon.
Cro-Magnon. They say that they want to go to a cashless society so they can control us more. They're telling people don't use cash, right? Because it's got coronavirus on it. That's a good way to get us to stop using cash. Scare the shit out of us. Oh, if you touch that dollar bill, you'll probably get coronavirus.
Oh boy,
it's a crazy.
I
brave new world, Chris.
Everything.
Who would have thought? I always look. I don't know if you remember when I talk about stuff like this. I always say that nothing happens gradually. It's punctuated equilibrium. Gould. This guy Gould, I forget his first name. His theory of evolution was that change doesn't occur. My iPhone is answering with punctuated. Punctuated equilibrium is a theory out there that evolution doesn't occur gradually by small changes, like Darwin insisted. Gould said that it was
big events.
Huge events, and then long periods of stasis, meaning nothing happens, everything stays the same, and then boom, huge mutation occurs in the animal kingdom, and then it radically changes things, and then boom, thousands of years of stasis, nothing happening. And I believe in that. I actually saw it, but he's no longer with us. He passed, that guy, but I actually saw him speak at my college, Franklin and Marshall College, and it was when I heard it, it just resonated with me. I'm like, that's brilliant. That's because they're always wondering why there's big gaps in the fossil record. In other words, when they try to find the link between man and monkey, they call the missing link. That's when you hear that term, the missing link. It's because they want to know where's that common ancestor between monkey and ape, and they can't find these. There's huge gaps between species, between reptiles and amphibians, and they don't know where the gradual. In other words, if they're finding fossil remains in the ground, they should find transition, creatures.
It's not there.
It doesn't exist. Like all of a sudden, boom, there's a new thing there. And that's his theory. He's like, well, because there are no transitions. It's a huge mutation that occurs and changes everything radically. And then that becomes the new norm. And then it stays like that for thousands of years until you get another huge random mutation that's actually, obviously the mutation has to be functional, because if it's not functional, it just dies off, And so that's what the society's at. We're at this point where we're going to have a huge change because of what's going on here. And the people who can adapt will adapt, and the other ones will just die off. And that's just how it works, And now whether we caused it or some other country caused it or someone caused this virus to be released and basically sped up the process, we don't know. And I don't know if we'll ever know, Is China going to benefit financially from this? Of course they are. But that doesn't mean that they released the virus. I mean, it seems like they're benefiting from it, but they've also lost a lot of people over there. Now a lot of people say, well, they don't care about their people. They wanted to lose these people. They were just old people anyway. I don't believe that. I don't necessarily believe that. I don't know if you do or not, but it's not our fault that they make everything, right? No, they make all the supplies we need. It wasn't like all of a sudden they're making it. They've always made it. We always bought all the supplies from them. So of course we should be happy that they're back to work over there. Otherwise we won't have enough medical supplies to fucking take care of all the problems that we have here. Right?
No, you're right. You're in terms of,
it's our own fault. If we bought everything from the UK or from Australia, then then they would benefit from this, Then when people say that the UK released this thing in China.
So is that where you're leaning, that it was, so that Dave Palumbo's official statement?
No, I have no official statement. I don't know.
But do you like conspiracy theories or not like them?
I do. I like the idea.
I know you
of them.
do.
They're exciting, but I don't necessarily. I think that we go too crazy with them.
Yeah.
The virus is man-made. Okay, it was man-made in Wuhan, China.
How do we know it was man-made?
Because just you could see the components of the virus. No, Dr. Paul Cottrell. Watch it. Go Google him.
If I can get in touch with Bob, I'll ask him.
Go to Dr. Paul Cottrell's YouTube channel and watch his stuff. He documents how this virus was synthesized, and we knew it. It wasn't made so that it could be released. It was made because they were studying it and how it interacted. So it said, let's see if we can.
It was made
to make the virus
be a killer or to.
No, they wanted to see if they can make it, better. In other words, more efficient, because remember, viruses can be used to transmit genes and using CRISPR technique and stuff like that. So they wanted to make the ideal virus that can be, used for good purposes, but that's used for bad purposes too. Take a common, like respiratory virus, coronavirus, and what's the one thing that it doesn't do that well? Well, it doesn't penetrate the cells that well. So it can be spread easily, but it doesn't. A lot of people don't get sick from it. So they took this thing and they made it better. They made it better at penetrating the cells so that it affected us more potently. And that's why this virus is so, I guess you could say, why they're making such a big deal about it, because there was no other virus that we ever knew of that was transmitted this easily.
I guess not the bigger.
You just got me infected from just sneezing right over the computer.
I know.
That's how virulent this thing is.
You know what's insane, dude? I tell my kids today, I'm just joking because they're bored out of their minds.
Yeah.
And it's Sunday. And we went for a ride yesterday in the car.
Right.
You want to go for an ice cream? Oh, no, we can't do that. Amusement park? No. Jump park? No. Movies? No. Mall? No. Let's go visit my mother.
Chris,
I can't do that.
Chris, let's look at real estate.
Yeah.
Just let's go look at real estate.
Real estate in the toilet.
I go in the backyard and look at fish. You go to look at real estate.
Yeah. I like people who haven't reduced their prices yet. It's like.
So I asked you never answered my question via text. I said, when do you think it will be a good time to go, if you have money, to go buy stuff? Like, when are people going to start getting desperate and selling shit real cheap?
When people really start to die, I mean, that's just the fact of the way capitalism works. When the bad news crescendos or starts to really peak, then that's going to cause a lot of panic. And people will have to sell things for less than they bought because they're going to do this. Honey, we don't have any money. So we have to sell our second house on the water in Miami because we need it for survival. Yeah. But we paid $500. We're going to sell it for $300. Well, we just in the last 3 weeks, our stock's worth $100 go down to $60,000.
Right.
So people sell because of the pain, the fear, and then the reality that they need to raise cash just to get by. People who have lost their jobs, people who lost their business. So it's coming. It's coming. I don't know when it is, but it's coming.
I'm waiting for the guys who are selling the snakes that I want real cheap. You
want those? You want the albino alligator. Yeah. Then you can justify it. You can tell your wife, well, I know I shouldn't have it, but they're giving it away. Well, I mean, they're giving it away. Why wouldn't I take it?
Exactly.
It's like $2,000.
Ronnie Coleman posted a great picture from, he's been posting pictures on his Instagram. I've been watching. He's got almost 4 million followers on Instagram. So he posted this great picture of himself.
2005. I can. That's 2005, Dave. See how fast I can pick. Wait, that could be 06.
03. I think he looks like 03 now.
Is it? I think 05.
I don't know.
Maybe.
It looks like an 03. 03, he was the wackiest. So I thought that was the 03 picture, but I could be wrong. He didn't really say when it was from. Did he?
You want to know something? Yeah. Jay, he was wacky in 03. Go look how big both him and Jay was in 04. Jay was enormous in 04.
No, it was great. 04. So he's a freak. He was a freak for sure. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't know what the hell to do with themselves. They're just trying to,
on a day-to-day basis.
I still don't have enough time to do everything I want to do. I thought I'd have a little more extra time. I wrote something, Chris, and I forgot I wrote this. This is how crazy my memory is nowadays because I have so much going. Before I went into Camp Fed, as we like to call it, my little prison stint, I wrote a screenplay. Not a screenplay. I wrote a book. I wrote a book about being in jail, but I was being framed for a murder, and it was like a murder mystery. And I saw it on my computer hard drive. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I start reading it. And I'm like, holy shit.
You're impressed with it?
I'm like, you know what happens? I start editing it. I'm like, wait a second. this wasn't needed here. And I'm start changing things. And I'm like, I don't even know what happens in this thing. I don't even remember. That's how long ago. Let's say it was 05. So it was 15 years ago. I wrote this thing. And so I read about 10 or 15 pages of it. It's like 100 pages I wrote. I'm like, when did I fucking have time to write this thing? How come I have no time right now to do this? My life was different. I didn't have any responsibilities then. I was going to go to jail, sit home at night and write it. It was therapeutic for me. It was semi-autobiographical. You know, I based it on
minus the murders
and the I changed characters' names, but there was some characters in there that were in my life, and I made up my own characters. And I'm like, you know what? It was a very creative thing I did, and I'm interested to read through the whole thing. I haven't even been able to sit down. And I'm watching The Tiger King on Netflix. I should be rewriting my manuscript.
You should publish it.
I don't think it was that good. I think it needs work, but I think the framework of it's pretty good. You know, I think if I sat and developed it,
you probably could get Dan Solomon to get you sell the movie rights to it. He's a salesman.
He can make the movie for it, right? Yeah.
How did the Weeda movie ever do?
I don't think it did very well. You know what? It's one of these movies, Chris, that for bodybuilders, it's great.
We love it. Yeah.
Yeah, because we can relate to everything. The general public are like, who fucking cares about Joe?
Yeah, they don't care.
Now, if it was a controversial Joe Weeda movie, about his life, then it would be a different story. You know. But it wasn't. It was like kind of just, you know, it was just a story. It was a biographical story. You know, you got to wait 20 more years before you can make the real controversial, you know, Joe Weeda, you know, movie. Yeah. You know, that wins the Academy Award. You know, let's face it. What movie was one of the greatest like autobiographical movies? Raging Bull, right? It won an Academy Award. Martin Scorsese did it. Robert De Niro acted in it. But and it was written by the guy who, you know, Jake LaMotta himself wrote that movie. But it was brutally honest. You know, it showed all how fucked up he was, in addition to how great he was, right? You can't have a blockbuster movie unless you show the main character.
You got to show the flaws. You got to show the flaws.
That movie didn't really show any flaws in Joe. It was a great movie because it was a feel-good movie. I didn't really know his life story, so I enjoyed it just to learn about his life story, but it really wasn't like anything blockbuster-ish, you know, about the industry. And it's because it's too fresh. Can't do it right now. It's got to be when people are dead and buried. That's when you make that stuff. And but I thought it was a great for posterity purposes to have that in the library, the file, the bodybuilding archive, so to speak. It's a great movie. And it was well acted. They had good actors and stuff like that. So I thought they did a good job with it in that sense. I just didn't think it was that controversial so that a normal, like my dad wouldn't have enjoyed it probably, you know? So here we go again with I got to plug in you got to talk. All right, talk.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm gonna get up. No. I got to plug the baby monitor in.
Dave's got to go. What happened? Logan's up. This is what happens. My kids it's 1 a.m. Dave's kids go to bed at 11:30. Then we start the radio show at 11:45. My 16 and 14-year-old are in bed at 9:30 so that they can be up. So that shows you the Dave Palumbo lifestyle when he says he's going to be training at 2 a.m. if he was still competing during the coronavirus scare. That is true. So let's see. Today I did, anyone catch my Instagram live? I've been doing them every day. Maybe you can go to my Instagram and check it out because I'm bored out of my mind during the day. And I'm stuck inside most of the day, which I hate. So, and I know people are stuck inside a lot of the day. So I've been doing Instagram live a little bit, I think every day. I'm going to try to get Evan to call over his house, Evan Centopani, the next couple days. Who else did I get? Today I got Ron Partlow, which is pretty funny. We yapped, caught up on things that we've been doing together, competing and prepping and gossiping for like the last 14 years. What else is happening? Dave's hell bent on this man-made virus, huh? He's going to buy into the conspiracy. He's going to build on it every week because he's going to watch tons of stuff on the internet. And then it's going to shape where he thinks that the virus came from. And then he's going to come up with some grand conspiracy theory at the end. It's crazy though, right? Nobody's working. Everyone's locked in their house. You know, I know people in Italy locked in their house. And I'm not making fun of it, just the amazing scope. Spain locked in their house. Vietnam locked in their house. Hong Kong not locked in their house, but pretty restricted to some degree. Gyms are closed. Evan's locked in his house. Ron Partlow's locked in his house. What other countries? Colombia, locked down. Brazil, restricted. England, of course, now Luke Sandow, Hollingshead, they're locked down. Kuwait, Ramy's locked down. I don't know if the restrictions have been lifted in Kuwait. I'm pretty sure they're still there. You name it. You know what's a big deal when me and Dave spend the whole entire time. Dave, I said, the coronavirus is a damn big deal when we spend the whole entire time talking about it, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. I was just saying when you were gone, like I was naming all the countries where I know someone.
There's a lot of them, right?
And everyone's in like a lockdown.
I get this. My Italian bodybuilders I work with are really freaking out.
Well, but the death rate is hit 10,000 today.
It's bad there. But you know what they have? They found that they have an older population there too. So I think that's why there's a lot more death.
I saw that too. And someone did tell me it's mostly older people.
The problem is with this thing is it becomes dehumanized because you get these mathematicians, these statisticians in there who are giving you all the stats. And if you know someone who died, the stats are like, who gives a fuck about the stats, right? You know someone who died, I don't know. Luckily, I don't know anyone who's died from it. I know a few people that have it, though. I know some bodybuilders that have it, actually. I'm not going to say who, but...
You have to tell me off there. I can...
Yeah, no one I'm talking about, like, just regular bodybuilders. No one, like, who's at the elite level that I know of. But pretty soon, we'll know a lot of people that have it. That's just the way it's going to be. And people are going to have it, and they're going to get over it, and that's all. Hopefully there'll be no residual damage. I hope I don't get it, but if there's a chance that I could get it, I go out, to get groceries and stuff like that.
Go for the bagels in the morning.
Yeah, I know. I go every morning. I did a run on a paper towel run at Dollar General today. They have them.
Oh, they do. I have tons of paper towels, tons of toilet paper.
I keep. Well,
did I tell you when I bought the toilet paper? The lady said, "I hope you get the coronavirus." I'm dead serious.
No, why did she say that?
Little old lady. I said, I turned to her and said, right away. You know me, Dave.
Yeah.
F you.
Why did she say that? Why did she say that to you?
She thought I was a hoarder of the, like there was a run on toilet paper.
Well, how many paper towels did you buy? I mean, how much toilet paper did you buy?
Well, what happened? A lot, a full like grocery cart.
Oh, you did.
But it's like a neighborhood grocery store, and I went and I first said, how much can I have? And they said, we have tons. Take all you want.
Oh, good. All right.
So everyone was in line getting the toilet paper, and my issue was before I had the slew of cancellations. The people cleaning the Airbnbs.
Oh, you need toilet paper for that.
No, but people were leaving, and they'd steal all the toilet paper.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
They'd go in the cleaner's closet,
which
is not like bolted down. It's just,
right.
And they would steal all the toilet paper.
So you bought extra toilet paper. I got you.
So not little old lady. She's maybe in her 60s. She said, "I hope you die of the coronavirus." I did. Can you imagine? I just said, "Fuck you."
I can't believe she said that to you, though.
Lewiston, Maine, Books Market.
Should say I have 25 kids. What do you want me to do?
I said, mind your own business.
You should have said I have an old age home that you may be living in one day.
Dave,
soon.
You listen.
What?
You can ask my wife. You can text her tomorrow. You know what I told her?
What?
I said, you can't make this up.
We didn't communicate about
because
this
it was a lie. It was a lie. First, it's true that I told her to go F herself. And then I told her And it was for my Airbnbs, but I told her, I'm bringing this to Portland for my father's who's been dead 1 year on April 4th. I'm bringing it to the Memory Loss Center. They don't have any toilet paper. Without missing a beat. And here you are today. You should have. That's exactly what I told her.
Yeah, well, that's obvious.
I just thought it was too obnoxious.
You and I think alike.
I thought it was too obnoxious to say on the air.
I would have said, I own a retirement home, and
No, I said I was taking it to my father's memory loss center. They don't have any.
My father can't take a shit. He has no toilet paper over there. He's using diapers because he can't because there's no toilet paper left. Because people like you are going in there and stealing it.
Yeah. Well, that's foreshadowing what's coming. I mean, this was just in the very beginning when we had the crazy toilet paper run.
I really don't think we're going to have food or supply shortages, Chris. I think that we got that initial shortage because people went crazy. And lost their mind right away because that's what they do in this country. They panic and they overbuy stuff. I hope that all the people who bought up all the milk and eggs, I hope it rots in your fucking kitchen.
No,
it stinks.
The run was on the toilet paper and Hot Pockets.
No, people bought all the milk up too originally. Now they got it all back. But people just don't think. But you know what? Once the people bought all the toilet paper up, they don't need to buy any more now. So it'll become available again. Supplies are not going to stop because number one, we need to keep industry going in this country, right? And number two, there'll always be delivery. Okay, delivery people are not losing their jobs anytime soon. I was making a joke with the UPS guy. I said, if they shut down UPS, we're all fucking done.
Yeah,
then it's Armageddon. Because that's just not going to happen. So. Yeah, there might be. There was a 2-3 week, not even. Was it 2 weeks that you couldn't get toilet paper and paper towels? Now it's all back inside because you know what they did? They called the factory and they're like, "All right, you better increase fucking production 1,000-fold because we're making a fortune." I have a friend who runs a supermarket. He told me that they're booming with business.
Yeah, totally.
He was worried he wasn't
crazy.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was worried he wasn't going to get his March bonus because if they don't hit a certain amount of sales. And they didn't know what to do. They're like, we couldn't figure out how to increase business. We just were having a really bad March. And then all of a sudden this coronavirus hits and boom. He said we had a record month, And I'm sure April will be a record.
You think this will put a dent in some companies, supplement companies' sales? I know you have a huge following of health nuts, Dave. So
I won't say who, but I've already had people asking me how I was doing and that they said they were doing poorly. And I'm going to be honest, I'm doing very well because I sell health supplements. So if you want to fortify your immune system, you're going to buy Species Nutrition products because they're the best because of the vitamin and minerals, that I sell. They're all chelated minerals. They're very high dosage of stuff. We know this fortifies the immune system. Same thing with my essential fatty acids, the fiber to cut down on toilet paper consumption. So we're selling a lot of fiber and a lot of demineralized. And of course, a lot of people can't get good sources of protein in the supermarket because retards are buying it all up. So we're selling a lot of protein. So and protein pudding, Protolize.
But you heard someone else is taking a hit.
Well, I think the people who are selling pre-workouts and some of the amino acid stuff and some of the stem products and mental focus and carb products, I think those are hurting because I think people they're not interested in that right now. They want to just stay healthy, at this point.
Yeah,
and they don't want to, they don't want to go to the hospital, and with coronavirus. So that's what their main thing is. But I've always had a steady business, Chris. Whether the economy is up or down, because I sell to a very loyal base of customers who just want top quality supplements. And that people won't skimp on themselves, especially during a crisis of where your immune system has to be, fortified against a virus. You're not going to cut back on your health supplements. I mean, you're nuts to do that.
You have fanatically loyal customers.
Yes. Yeah. And I am always getting new ones because what we do? I do a lot. The reason I
fanatically loyal customers.
I do sales. I'll tell you why. Not because I really don't like to do sales because I think it devalues the product, but I do sales because I want people who've never used the product to try the product. And when people see when we do a really big sale, especially if we have short dated product, I'll do like half off, half price sales. Because it gives people the opportunity to use the products. And then when they use them, they're like, oh my God, this stuff is really good. we're going to continue using it. So we gain new customers that way. And once again, we grow slowly, but it's a solid company in the sense that we have people that are repeat users of the products. And so that's what I'd rather have that than to say, oh my God, my overhead is $1 million a month. And if I don't make 10 million a month, I can't pay my bills, So I don't want to live with that. That's too scary for me. I'd rather know that I'm making this much money every month, and this is my overhead is low, so that when we hit times like this, I don't have to worry about it. I mean, basically, we operate the business from the second building on our property here. I mean, it's great. So, and we do all the marketing there, and obviously we do RxMuscle there. So it's that's why I said my life hasn't changed one bit. I'm doing the same thing I do all the time, except I'm just educating people about a virus, and it sucks. I'd rather not be doing it. I'd rather be educating them about how to put on muscle, but this is the times we're living in, and, we got to adapt. And I think people feel better. I got a lot of good feedback from the show we did last week, Chris, because I think people felt better about the whole situation after hearing us talk about it. And you and I probably feel like we're over talking about it, but I think people, puts them at ease.
Well, I'll make them feel better. We're all going to die. No, I'm just kidding. No, you listen, because people ask me all the time, because the shit has hit the fan for a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
And you got to back out of it. You got to think like either the shit is going to hit the fan so bad that it's the end of the world or not. So chances are very strong that it's not the end of the world. Yeah. And that gives you perspective on, we're going to hit a period where it's going to seem like the shit is hitting the fan even greater. And then things are going to settle down, which is the curve they keep talking about, right? Flattening out the curve.
The problem is that will the curve, once they flatten it out and they send people back to work, will it go up again? That's the only thing that's unknown.
The second wave.
A lot of people have been trying to get dumbbells because I've been telling people, just get dumbbells. Buy those adjustable dumbbells. Yeah. Because you know what, you could, the ones that sit in like a rack, and you can size, which ones you want, so to speak. They have different sets. They have ones up to 50. You can do the ones up to 50. That's for most people, that's enough, especially for women. But I mean, they have ones up to 100, 50 pounds probably you can get, and it doesn't take up any room. Think about what you just make the investment. You buy it and they ship it to you. I mean, who cares? You have it in your house. You can do anything with dumbbells. If you think about it, Chris, if you had up to 150-pound dumbbells or even 120-pound dumbbells, okay, in your house.
And a split bench?
Right. Tell me what exercise you cannot do.
I can tell.
What body part? Tell me what body part you wouldn't be able to do.
You could do anything if you got creative.
You could do everything with them. Everything.
Dave, I could do
lunge. You could do leg. I mean, you could do everything. Deadlift with them.
You won't become a better bodybuilder, but you know what? When you're limited with the selection of equipment that you use, you're forced to. When you go like this, oh my gosh, I didn't know the gym closes in 20 minutes and I got to do chest. And you say, that was one of the best chest workouts in history.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's the same when you only have a little bit of equipment.
Yep.
Not only do you have to stay very basic, but you have to be able to learn, which a lot of people don't because of machines, how to work a muscle through the correct and proper range of motion to keep the tension on the muscle to get it to respond. So there's some ups. I mean, there's some sort of weird, odd benefit if you're training in a limited environment.
Do you know how many times
you teach yourself new stuff?
Do you know how many times I went to the gym, Chris? Holidays or on weekends, or I was traveling where like the gym's like, oh, we're closing in 15 minutes. I'm like, all right, that's all right. I'll work out. They're like, nah, we're closing in 15 minutes.
I'll do legs. I'll do squats. I'll do 3 sets of 80.
I would run through the gym and in 15 minutes do everything. And they'd be closing the door. And, I was like 300 pounds. So, and I still, everyone else, they're kicking out and they're like afraid to tell me to leave. And like, I'm still in the back. They're like, we're going to sweep up the locker room. You can stay another 10 minutes. I'm like, yes, I can do 10 more sets now. That's what it's like now. So but you could do everything with dumbbells. Really. I mean, you got to just be creative, and you know what? You'll find you'll get a better workout because like you said, they're all free weights. And so you always get a good workout with free weights. I've been swimming in my pool every day. a couple laps. I feel like I grew. I feel bigger already, from just doing some swimming. So look, improvise. It's not going to be forever that you're not going to be able to go back to the gym. The gyms will open way before, society opens, so to speak. I lost Chris again. I can't believe it. This must be the reason why we must have to end the show. The take-home message of today's show is don't quit. Don't quit. And I always tell you this. If you don't quit, you can't fail. And sometimes our juju is challenged. Our mental fortitude is challenged. Can we get through this? Can we still make this happen? Can we still be a good bodybuilder without equipment, without a gym, without the right food? You have to find a way to make it happen because we're all in the same boat. Okay? And we will get through this, and the gyms will open up again, and the supermarkets will be fully functional again, and all the restaurants will open again. Where will you be? Will you be 6 months behind everyone, or will you be ahead of the curve because you were neurotically and focused enough on what your goals were to not stop and not quit? Don't miss meals. Don't miss workouts. Come out of this a better body.
Are you sure mine's still clicking? The thing says live over here. Live 120.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's still going. You're right. I didn't end the broadcast. I thought I did. Did we say anything we shouldn't have?
Huh?
Did we say anything we shouldn't have?
People are depressed. I understand.
I understand too.
Think of the context, Dave. Everyone is not going to work. Right. I mean, people are working from home. Do you know how many people I have rebooking Airbnbs? I've worked from home. You work from home all the time, right?
Yeah. Nothing changes.
I get people. Hi, my name is Dave. I live right outside of Portland. This is my 7th business day at home. I'm going completely stir crazy. 7 days to stir crazy. You would think it was 7 months, right? This is on Airbnb. I should post one on Instagram. Can I rent your place on Tuesday and Wednesday? I just need to bring my laptop and, so I'm going to bring some food with me and I'm just going to work because either like my wife's driving me crazy because I'm home, we're both home, or the kids are home, or, I just can't. It's all crazy.
Yeah. I know.
And you know what, Dave? You know what the crazy thing is? Some people are social animals, like heavy duty. I mean, no, you're home, you're with your wife and kids all day, and that fits you. I was kidding with Jay. Jay's like, I'm home all the time alone anyway.
Right.
But some people have to be around people, all the time.
Yeah. Well, at least is Chris Cormier still living in his house?
I think they're still in Australia, I think. I think there's no flights.
They got stuck there? They got
quarantined? I don't think there's any flights back.
I think Chris loves that stuff. When Chris loves getting stuck in foreign countries, he's probably
probably get married, a girlfriend. Yeah. Have this meal being cooked, smoking. Yeah.
The two of them probably got married.
Yeah.
They got married and divorced before they even came back. All right. As we say every week here at Heavy Muscle Radio, Chris, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth is painful.
And it hurts. See you next week.